What's up, everybody? Razman's Reality here for Geeky.com when it's just not geeky enough. Today, I'm going to do a review for you video style just to try something a little bit different, and also because, hey, this is a video game, so why not do the review on video? And of course, I'm going to be talking about Madden NFL 15, which of course has been out since August the 26th, 2014. And so you might be asking yourself, what took me so long to get to this review? Well, the biggest thing, the game is just too dang fun to turn off when you have spare time. It's that good this year. For a lot of years now, the Madden franchise, because it's the only game in town as far as the NFL is concerned, has been rightly criticized for just being a glorified roster upgrade every year without much change. I'm happy to say that with the arrival of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, that's clearly no longer the case. From the minute you turn on this game, you are immersed into a football world like you've never experienced before. Because instead of just highlights from last year in video form or various graphic highlights from the game set to commentary from Jim Nance and Phil Simms, you instead get thrust right into a demo of a would-be NFC Championship rematch from last year between the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks and the Carolina Panthers, where you are Cam Newton and his Carolina Panthers offense. After the Carolina Panther defense forces a fumble recovery from the Seattle offense. So you have the chance to do what the Carolina Panthers could not do last season, and that's defeat the Legion of Boom LOB defense. If you fail, Richard Sherman gets right in your face and says, never try the LOB. And if you succeed, you hear Cam Newton, that's right, both Richard Sherman and Cam Newton lend their voices to the game this year as they were the leading candidates for the cover, the cover, the cover, sorry about that, the cover athletes this year. As you can see, Sherman just edged out Cam Newton, but they both lend their voices to the game to add to the realism of the sounds and sights that you see within the game this year. Cam Newton even takes it to another level when he is the one that runs you through the tutorials covering some of the new features of the game. So overall, presentation wise, it is a complete overhaul. From telling the player that this is going to be a completely different gameplay experience to not only seeing in terms more details graphically, in terms of the players themselves, but more details in terms of how football actually is. From the coaches constantly looking at their playbook and seeing frustration and actual sweat on their brows as the game goes on, to seeing the quarterbacks warming up on the sidelines after their opponents have just done something major on the field, to seeing joy from the players after they score a touchdown, to seeing joy from the players when they're making a big play on the field offensively or defensively. Defense this year is a huge focus with Madden NFL 15, as it's probably, other than just being a glorified roster upgrade, the most deserving criticism that the franchise has received for these past number of years. Every time you went for a tackle or tried to make a stop with the pass, everybody just looked the same with everything. It was just one basic blocking motion. Now, the creators have utilized the technology of the next gen systems and they've done a complete overhaul to the defense. Not only do you have to work hard to make a tackle, and every player is different when they make tackle, meaning that the tackle you make from a defensive end position is not going to be the same thing you make from the linebacker or the strong safety position. But also, you have for the first time ever, as far as part of, sorry, the ability that the Next Gen Council brings to you, the ability to actually see the field from a defensive camera angle. That's right, you're no longer limited to just seeing gameplay from an offensive standpoint. Now, in fairness and in unbiasedness for this review, I personally don't enjoy that camera view. I tried it quite a few times and I'm just not having success with it. Your eyes have become so trained over 26 years of the franchise and every other incarnation of football we've seen, including the excellent ESPN NFL 2K5 franchise, which is widely, or excuse me, video game in that franchise, which is widely become regarded as the greatest football game ever. The only view you ever had was the offense. So it's just not something you're used to yet, and you feel like it distracts you from being able to effectively make a play because the camera doesn't look right. Maybe over the years we'll all get used to it, but right now, as a veteran Madden player, I'm not using it because the offensive point of view with the graphic overhaul helps your defense anyway. As far as gameplay itself, what have they done to improve it? A lot. A heck of a lot. You get a camera angle from the offensive standpoint that takes you right in the huddle. And no matter what difficulty level you play on, you stay in that position. So if you want to be able to see which receivers are open when you run offense, you have to hit the circle button on the PlayStation 4 and on the Xbox One. I would assume that's the A button, or excuse me, the I believe it's the B button that's in that position. It's been so long since I've had an Xbox, but it'd be the same button in the same position for your action. So there's that, and then there's the fact that just like on defense, offense detail wise has been completely overhauled because no longer is it just easy to run through the tackles or as a running back or complete a pass as the quarterback. Every player's rating makes a difference, and so you're actually not going to get an accurate pass every time you throw the ball if you're not playing with a high end guy like an Andy Dalton, a Peyton Manning, a Cam Newton, or a Colin Kaepernick. Sorry, my brain sort of lost track of who I was trying to say there for a minute. If you're not playing with higher end guys like that, but instead you're playing with middle of the road guys, and actually, in fairness, I guess you would consider Andy Dalton a middle of the road guy, although I think his accuracy has really improved from what I saw in preseason this year. And of course, I'm biased as an Ohio guy. I always play with the Bengals, so I know how to play as Dalton effectively. But if you're playing with a middle of the road guy like an Eli Manning or a Tony Romo or a guy with a lot of potential, but it isn't quite there yet because we don't know what he's going to do. And in Johnny Manziel, you'll find that your quarterback experience is vastly different. And the kicking, finally, sorry, we have to talk about the kicking team and the kicking aspect because not only has the quarterback and the defense been improved to where when you make a catch as a receiver or you run between the tackles as a running back, you see details that are reflected, by the players that you're utilizing. But in the kicking game, for the first time ever, they've actually done the reverse, and that's created an easy interface for one of the more difficult parts of the game. Year after year after year, for I would say, as a guy that's played the game for all of the 26 years, I would say it's been at least 8 years now, if not 10 years. You can't make field goals unless you're like in the extra point position because you have to hit the right stick once for power and then take it back down and hit it another for accuracy. In, in a previous incarnation, they even tried to take it away from the right stick and use the button interface, and that just made it worse. This year, what they've done is two things. They've made it so you actually only have to do one interface for both power and accuracy. So you just hit the right stick up once to control how far you want the kick to go and then let it go. If you don't let it go right away, then your accuracy is going to get all out of whack and the ball is not going to go where you want it to go. So you do have to be careful of that because, as I mentioned, you are trained in your mind as a veteran player to do it twice as opposed to just once. And the other thing that they've done to make kicking actually happen is that this year, just like the flight of the football from a passing standpoint, you actually have an interface a lot like you would see on television when they show a replay that shows the flight or the intended directory of the football. You have a green interface as far as colors that will turn into a red, a yellow interface that turns into a green interface that then turns into a red interface that shows you where your kick should be aimed in terms of utilizing the left stick. And by the way, it is just the left stick now. For some reason, you can no longer use the D-pad, which is kind of annoying because I kind of like using the D-pad, but I digress. I guess because the accuracy, they felt like the D-pad would make it harder, I guess, to control than the right stick, or the left stick. I don't know. But anyway, when you have to move the left stick into the intended position and you pay attention to that interface and it will tell you right where the football should go and tell you when you're going to be 100% accurate with your kick as far as location goes within the net. Then once you do that, like I said, all you got to do is nail the kick at full power and you're good to go. I've made two 55-yard field goals already this year with Mike Nugent. So, there you have it. So, as you can hear from this review, everything has changed. And you have a truly immersive, real football experience that is just going to blow your mind. Every complaint is gone. The defense has been fixed. Kicking has been fixed. Ratings actually matter. So bottom line is, now with this current generation of game consoles, there's no excuse not to take part in hashtag Madden season. Now, I cannot speak for the last generation consoles, the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, as this, along with MLB The Show and WWE 2K, are the main reasons why yours truly made it a point to upgrade to the next generation slash current generation game console this year. As to why I'm a Sony guy over an Xbox guy, well, just get a hold of me sometime and I'll talk to you about that. So I hope you all enjoyed this review and I hope it sold you on Madden if you weren't sold yet. The only other thing I didn't talk about, which I will quickly cover because I can't actually speak from it from experience, but I would not be surprised if it's true. A lot of people say that Madden 15 does look the same graphically as the Madden 25 edition that was put out from the PS4 launch, and only gameplay as an overall experience has been improved. And if that's the case, give them time because this was a late attempt last year and it's their first full attempt now with Madden 15. They will figure out how to improve graphically on what you see, but keep in mind that you're complaining about a console that's giving you graphics like you've never seen. 1080p at 60 frames per second with an awesome Ignite engine. So you're still way better off than you're ever going to be on the last generation. With that, be sure to leave a comment down below via the comment section and let me know what you thought of this review. And remember, if it's in the game, it's in the game. This has been Razman's Reality for Geeky.com when it's just not geeky enough.